100 different climate policy scenarios, taking into account not only life cycle costs of technologies, but also human behavior and tendency to have different preferences and risk perceptions.
Do you guys interact with the government at all?
Well, I think my supervisor has his ways. And, yeah.
Do you guys officially interact with the government at all, or not at all, that you know of?
I can't talk about that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know that we are trying to push our research and what we know through mass media and, writing op-eds and understand and those type of ways.
Do you put articles in the local newspaper too, like the community papers? Do you write any letters to the editor?
I'm not sure that students themselves do, but I think we are encouraged. Yeah. Well, Mark, I think, is our leader, and he recently, maybe in April, I don't remember, he gave a public talk in front of thousands of people at Robson Square when there was a campaign to stop the pipeline, and he's doing things like that we think are effective.
He was on the CBC last week,
talking
about the government's labeling of liquefied natural gas as
yes,
clean.
All those commercials do the cleaner natural gas.
That's the issue, is that what should we do as scientists when we face this type of highly funded campaigns that reject our findings? It's just that we have to be prepared to answer all of those questions that they're asking, and have more certainty in our answers, and make sure that we can effectively communicate our facts, and make sure that our facts are not boring for the general public, and turn our research into stories and those type of things.
You were saying the Scandinavian countries have some success. Do you know what sort of struggle they went through, if they had to go through any struggle before they adopted those policies? Or?
Well, they have had carbon taxes for more than 20 years now, and their carbon taxes in Sweden are at the level about $100 per ton, whereas in BC it's $30 per ton. I'm not sure whether they had to go through any struggles. I know that those countries are very, very used to spending a lot of money on government initiatives, and I'm from Russia, and travel to Finland and Sweden all the time, and people just trust their governments much more than here. And the effect of carbon taxes in Sweden have been amazing. Everyone understands that in the beginning the result is very almost invisible, but over time, in long term, the effect has been amazing, and the GDP is growing faster than anywhere else. So,
excuse me. In one of your strategies to skip this policies, climate change policies, you said that some say that peak oil will take care of this, but to answer that, you said that people have always had innovation and have been able to explore to produce more oil. Do you really believe that, like the scenarios that say 2020 will be the peak oil, that will not be true? You say there will be no peak oil?
Well,
is that what you claim?
We know how innovative people are. They invent ways to produce liquefied natural gas. They switch coal to liquefied coal. We've seen that there is a history of human innovation and how fast the progress goes. And we do believe, and this research shows, that the amount of fossil fuels that exists in the earth crust that we don't know yet how to extract, we will know that know what to do with that and how to extract it pretty soon.
In a few years before 2020?
To further your answer, actually, there was a study published by a scholar from MIT with the 10 next year, so 2020, and with the increase of production thanks to basically 4 countries, Canada, the US, Brazil, and Iraq, we can achieve cheap prices of oil and the consumption with business as usual. So there is really no incentives to change anything. And for a country like Canada, that all to, well, the interest, the immediate interest is just to develop tar sand and to go in this kind of policy. There is absolutely no incentives.
But at the same time, if you don't implement any policies, then the oil prices go up, and that will automatically reduce your demand. So there will be an incentive to find other types of fuels or whatever you want, so that people can use them for their energy systems.
With the current prices, and I mean, 10 years it's really nothing in the oil industry. And they have already started the development in the US of all this cracking extraction, which produces a lot of oil. So in terms of the prices are sufficient to support this kind of technologies, which are indeed highly inefficient and even more inefficient when you look at tar sands. But why would, I mean, the argument of oil as a limiting factor is not an argument to take decision and to change.
Oil is not a limiting factor. That's what I was saying, and that's why we need regulations or whatever else you offer, emissions pricing, if it works, to make sure that oil becomes expensive and people transform the energy system to carbon-free systems.
And another remark, you were suggesting hydrogen. But how do you produce hydrogen?
I'm not sure how you produce hydrogen for vehicles.
Because so far, most of hydrogen production is out of fossil fuel. So hydrogen is not a carbon-free technology today.
I'm not an expert in the physics of hydrogen, so I can't answer that question properly.
What's happening on campus? Like, this is a series, eh? This is a series of discussions. Who's it organized by? Is there a group that tries to bring everybody, yourself? So is there some kind of committee for ongoing discussions on climate change issues, or any plans? Or is your organization trying to bring interdisciplinary conversations together in any larger way other than the series that you're doing?
Not yet. So the
okay. Well, I mean, I'll help you if you want to do that
thing. So I mean, we can organize something.
Well, I think we should. I mean, there's so many people coming at this. Like, I'm a sociology PhD student, and my take on it is, very, very different. This is all wonderful, but I'm at a completely different angle. And there's so many people coming at it from different ways that it would be really good to bring us together.
That's kind of the basic idea of this series.
Of this, which is great. So I'll give you my card if you want some help in organizing that.
It would be great to organize this during the time when there are more students on campus, because I know that all the RAMers, so the School of Resource and Environmental Management, will be interested in coming. We have people coming from different backgrounds, engineers and economists and social science people. We have a wide variety of people in interdisciplinarities. Is the key aspect of our program.
To bring people together.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the President's Dream seminar series, which this year is focusing on the origins of life, but is a kind of open-ended affair, and they accept applications for different themes, and this would make a very good theme.
Well, and the spring one is on global and social justice issues, which include things like the global impacts on other people of kinds of fuel consumption
also, I think, opportunities to have people come into courses and to provide this kind of perspective.
That would be great. Actually, we are interested in doing that. If some of you teach some kind of courses that are related to climate change and climate change policy making is not something that you are teaching directly, I or any other students could come and give a talk like that.
There has actually been, so I'm in the philosophy department of faculty member there, and there has actually been some discussion and student interest in doing something like an activism course. And since we're in the philosophy department, a lot of it would be, justifications for and varieties of activism kinds of things, but it sounds like that might be that was why I was pressing you on some of this, is a lot of the things that I find are kind of, no offense to you, hand wavy. Okay, so you get all your people together and then what do you do with them? That's kind of, where the rubber hits the road.
But yeah, it's the whole different kind of field that I'm not an expert in, and I don't think anyone in our lab is an expert in.
Yeah. But if you bring together enough people, it could be a sort of thing where there's sort of two chunks that are taken by different sections of the university, so that there's a whole bunch of different perspectives that come together on it. So if people are potentially interested in something like that, it'll take a year or two to get off the ground for bureaucratic reasons, but let me know.
Actually, there might be a faster way, which is that
that'd be good.
there's a course.
Chair told me there's no faster way.
Well, there's an existing course in fact, the environment, controversy in the environment, and it's set up in a modular fashion. So there's 3 different modules, and one opportunity is to have a controversy on what are the best strategies for activism in climate change.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the people who runs the course, so I'm happy to chat with anyone who's interested in trying to incorporate that kind of material in. And we're quite receptive to bringing in as many voices as possible and encouraging students to engage beyond just the confines of the course.
Excuse me, what's your name?
Vance Williams. I'm in the chemistry department.
Thank you.
In what part?
Chemistry. But the course is offered out of the faculty of environment. It's part of their collaborative teaching fellows program.
Interesting, and the philosophy department is trying to get an active...
Well, by the philosophy department, I mean, I am trying to get in the philosophy, I'm Italian medicine. I'm trying to get something like that going. Although it wouldn't be focused primarily on climate change activism, it would be on a variety of different forms of activism. But the idea would be it would be a sort of project-based thing that the students would choose something that they're actually going to do over the course of the term, and that would be essentially what they're graded on, is what they do with it.
My sense is that, I mean, so many individuals, within different departments are changing their research or developing their research or whatever, or require expression, under this general frame of climate change, and increasingly that's going to be in the case. And it just seems like, and maybe I've been out of the loop, maybe it's been happening in a big way, but there's going to be an increasing opportunity out there to get a lot of different voices together under this, the issue of climate change. And I'd love to see some of, the people I know clash with some of the views from, the science and the policy-based kind of presentations that you guys are really good at.
I agree. There's great opportunities for discussion. For example, the issue of, from a policy viewpoint, hydrogen would be great, but from a scientific viewpoint, there's huge problems with it. And vice versa, there are suggestions that scientists come up with all the time that are just out to lunch when it comes to policy. And those discussions have to happen. And there are little pockets of conversations go on, but it's not a coherent thing. What the fact the environment does have, though, is this collaborative teaching fellows program, where they have money for course development. The emphasis of that program is to bring together people from different areas and to work together to have courses. And if there is an aspect of community engagement that fits very nicely with the university mandate as it's developed over the last few years. So I think there's that type of thing is, and if you're interested in that, you should contact Dan Burns.
Dan Byrne, got it.
He's in faculty environment, and I think there's still, they will probably take applications at any time for that.
Very good to know, thank you.
But it sounds like there's a huge need to get the departments to sit down and talk together, because everyone has huge loopholes that the other people see, and obviously there isn't enough discussions with people who really know enough. This is what I'm hearing from you guys, that you see problems with what they see, and they see problems with what you see,
And we do encourage, if people come from other groups, come to our research meetings and participate in our discussions, it somehow relates to what they're doing. We're always trying to communicate with the climate science department that is led by Karen Caulfield. And we would love to incorporate some climate feedbacks and those tipping points in our models, but we don't know how to do it. So we're doing energy economy modeling, but we don't incorporate any of those kind of climate system characteristics that we know about. It's a different topic, but anyway, we're open to cooperation, and we would encourage you students who are doing some sort of research related to what our research lab does to come to our meetings and to participate. in
Okay, so
discussions.
what's the next meeting? And who do you talk to?
It's not until September.
And contact Mark, or who?
Yeah, we talked to
Yeah.
Mark, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a student coming from the climate science lab, and he's doing something, some part of his research is related to climate systems, but he's also looking at electric vehicles and the influence on climate systems. I'm not sure what exactly, but that's when he comes to our lab and talks about what we can help him about, what we can do in terms of our modeling tools for assessing emissions from vehicles or those type of things. Any other comments, questions, suggestions to improve this presentation?